You are listening to the Real Anime Podcast, and we just want to thank you guys for whatever day it is, whether it's morning time, afternoon time, evening time, or night time, or past your bedtime right now. We thank you for listening to our podcast where we're just two blokes who just talk about cinema and the love of cinema, whether it's anime, whether it's real life action, or TV shows or whatnot. We will talk about it. Whatever is available, we shall talk about it. Now, with that being said, thank you for listening to the podcast, and we'll see you on the next episode. No, just kidding, everyone. There's a plot twist for you guys. Monish's face is just like, well, what is going on here? Lewis is probably, it's 1st of May right now as we speak in 2000 or whatnot, the year right now. And today we're going to be talking about Cowboy Bebop. It's a personal favorite. Now, for disclaimer, we're going to be talking a bit about both, but majority about it will be about the film. All right, so a bit of about Cowboy Bebop itself is obviously directed by Shinichiro Watanabe, right? And also, it's just basically about, if you guys have watched the series, it's basically about these two guys who go on a bunch of like bounty hunting jobs, and they just basically live paycheck to paycheck. But with that being said, I guess you guys are dying to hear my co-host over here, who's just sitting in the back over here with this nice lighting setup, I must say. I mean, you see me have good. Mohnish is the type of guy who has good lighting skills, and I'm the one who always change my set design like I change my underwears. But Mohnish, how are you today?
I'm doing good, and as far as lighting goes, I try my best.
No, you don't try
But
your best. You are the best.
hey, no. You know who is the best though?
What?
Shinichiro Watanabe is the best.
Exactly. That is. I mean, he's the best.
Yeah, I mean the guy, like even the picture behind you, like it shows exactly like the beautiful lighting Cowboy Bebop brings. You know, the duotone, the contrast, beautiful. But yeah, so like what are we talking about? We're talking about the movie Cowboy Bebop, but like Lewis said, we will also delve a little bit into the series, but our main focus for this episode will be on the movie. So yeah, Lewis, what do we start with?
Okay, so obviously, just for a disclaimer for the movie itself, if you guys have not watched the movie, I mean, I would suggest watching the movie itself. But if you guys have watched both, even great. But nevertheless, thank you for still joining us no matter what. So I'll give a bit of a brief description of the film itself, the Cowboy Bebop film. Okay. So basically, long story short, there's like a virus attack which is going on around the city, and basically people are getting sick from it, but they don't know what the cause of it is. So basically, long story short, it's just like COVID, but it happened like in the early 2000s, let's just say, which early 2000s was probably, what's that? Not Ebola, but I think what's the virus from the early 2000s? I remember it was from back in the day. SARS. That's the one. It's just like that Portugal. SARS is the virus that I.
I mean, to be fair, just for everybody else, we are not really, even though we will end up spoiling the film. It's been 25 years lah, so y'all just figure that shit out lah. But aside from that, Louis, what are we talking about the film?
All right, so we love, both of us, we love Cowboy Bebop, the TV series, and the film itself. Well, you'll find out later whether we like it or not. But Cowboy Bebop as a whole, we love the series itself. I mean, fun fact, I did not even like the first 5 episodes of the series itself, but I ended up, enjoying it and considering my all-time favorite anime. But nevertheless, with the first question which I want to talk about is actually, it's basically like the first introduction to Cowboy Bebop. Now, for this, our first introduction to Cowboy Bebop was obviously from the TV show itself. Then, obviously, as of recently, now we're talking about the film itself. So, the first question I wanted to ask you, or if you guys are watching this, you put it down your answers in the comment section below. All right, whenever you're watching it on YouTube or Spotify or whatnot, feel free to put down your comments, as we want to try engage with you as how you've been engaging with us on Instagram and also MySpace. Sorry, that's a wrong. Sorry, wrong social media platform. I think you lot weren't even born when it was around. We remember the back in the days, but nevertheless, Mohnish, I wanted to ask you, what was your like first experience like watching Cowboy Bebop? Tell me about it, like from the TV show first, and then you could talk a bit about the film itself after that. Another question, like another sub question, will probably be like, how does the TV show translate into the the film itself?
I think my introduction was, of course, through the anime series first, and then the movie was later. And Cowboy Bebop was, as an anime, always talked about, and I never quite watched it just because at the time I was way too young. I was more interested in Naruto, Bleach, or eventually I would go on to or Captain Tsubasa. Oh my God, beautiful football anime, and my interest was there. And Cowboy Bebop is very much more of a seinen anime, not really a shoujo, or sorry, not definitely not a shoujo. It's more of a seinen anime, not really a shonen. And I was very much into shonen when I started young, and seinen being the more mature anime, like Cowboy Bebop, especially with the jazz and all this killing and this very sexy Spike Spiegel voice and everything. And I got introduced to the first episode. Now, the first episode of the series is widely singled out by the rest of the anime community and even by most film critics too, because Asteroid Blues, the first episode of Cowboy Bebop, is considered to be one of the most legendary episodes of anime ever made. Like that is the reputation that particular episode has. So for me, I was always just like, okay. And when I ended up watching it, initially I was a bit turned because I was like a bit like interested by the music, and I was like, oh wow. And I grew up loving noir and all these kind of protagonists. And Spike Spiegel felt like a kind of pseudo James Bond. And so the first episode was very, very strong for me. I felt like it was such a great introduction, and it really gives you the beautiful pilot episode feel of a series, And then in the movie, which is very simply called Cowboy Bebop the movie, easy to remember, also directed by Shinichiro Watanabe. That movie's opening scene feels like the opening episode of Cowboy Bebop in some way. And I don't mean it in like style, I mean it more in purpose and execution, right? From a storytelling point of view, because it starts off as a robbery in a convenience store, right? And it feels very James Bond because you got Spike Spiegel and his compadres stopping a robbery, but Spike Spiegel makes it very clear to the people he saves that he is no policeman and he's just doing his thing. And then we cut to the intro of the film right after he says a cool line or two, and I think like that intro to me is what makes Cowboy Bebop so amazing because they always nail their intros. Speaking of which, their anime intros are like the intro to the series is one of the greatest intros ever made, alongside one of the greatest anime theme songs ever made. So I feel like in terms of just being introduced to Cowboy Bebop, there's such a strong element of like, oh, I gotta watch this.
The intro itself, I would say, is probably, in my opinion, controversial or not, but the best anime intro out there, right? I know you have a bunch of good intros out there, right? You probably have One Piece.
I can hear the Demon Slayer fans going now. They're like, no, 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 no. But look, I want to say that right now, okay? Some Demon Slayer fans I have a lot of respect for, but at large, sometimes they can be a little toxic, okay?
Yes.
And perhaps you need to see clearly by watching more Cowboy Bebop. Louis, back to you.
Yeah, and we here at the Real Anime Podcast, we don't do toxicity. Man, don't do that. We don't do that. If you are toxicity, pula. If you being if you
I was
being
going to say like, oh, somebody's been reading the dictionary and then suddenly it just
sorry.
As you can tell, school wasn't exactly the greatest battleground for us.
I mean,
But but Louis, what was what was it for you? Like, who's your favorite character? Though I'm just curious.
my favorite
In the movie,
in the movie itself. I mean, like I'll answer this question before I tell you about my first experiences with Cowboy Bebop itself. But I just love Spike Spiegel's character, man. I don't know what's about him, but like I love his aura. I love the background of the fella. Like the amount of stuff he went through, and like when you spoiler alert, you get to the ending, it kind of leaves you not like a cliffhanger ending sort of itself, but it's just like it makes you question like, were the decisions that he made in the past right, or was it wrong? Now I guess that's my best with doing like the like to not spoil the ending itself. But I love Spike Spiegel, and I must say that I'm also a fan of the voice actor of Spike Spiegel actually, because did you know Spike Spiegel? Let me actually load it up.
Steve Blum.
Yeah, Steve Blum, right? Steve Blum. He's actually one of my favorite voice actors out there actually, because if you guys know the game Call of Duty Black Ops, he actually played the voice actor of Tank Dempsey, which is why one of my favorite characters from Zombies last time. So there you go, a bit of zombies in here. And also, if you guys play the game Valorant, if you guys know the smoke character Brimstone, well, there you go. He played that. So I can see Mohnish over here is a bit gobsmacked with that fact. And there you go.
I'm gobsmacked by that, and also I just found out Steve Blum was in Perfect Blue.
Wait, what?
Yeah, he's a voice actor in Perfect Blue. I now want to go and watch Perfect Blue in English dub just for him.
Well, guys, breaking news. I guess next episode is gonna be Perfect Blue. I guess maybe, but nevertheless, like I would say that's that's my favorite character itself. And to answer like the first question, which I asked Monish just now, my first experience with watching Cowboy Bebop, Monish knows this very well. I didn't like it. I did not like it. Reason being because I at the time I need to recall when I started watching anime. It was early 2000. It was mid of 2022. I was like exposed to like Perfect Blue, The Garden of Words, all these sort of and Spirited Away, of course. But I mean, we watched it all when we was younger. Excuse me, but like at first when I watched Cowboy Bebop, I felt that it was a bit slow for my liking. Then I remember that I did not watch it for a good 2 to 3 months after that. The first 4 or 5 episodes, I was just like, yeah, I'm not really a big fan of it because I'm not really. Maybe I was at a time when my anime knowledge wasn't that maju yet. That like it wasn't there yet to what it is now, or my film theory knowledge, where I just thought like it's too slow for me, right? But that's the beauty of Cowboy Bebop. It's not like your flashy animes. Like let's take Tokyo Ghoul for example, like season 1 itself. The first episode, you have Hanaki already like gets bitten by like on his first day, and boom, you're really straight into the action. Cowboy Bebop in a way is like almost like a slow burner itself, but with a good purpose. But trust me, once you start watching it from episode 1, okay, it might be a bit slow, but once you get to episode 5 or whatnot, that's when you start to see like the pace pick up, and also like each moment of the episode itself like has like a certain significant moment itself, and then you eventually get introduced to Jet, you get introduced to Edward also, and another favorite character of mine was the Corgi itself. I think her name his or her name is Al. I forgot the name. And also you have other characters such as Faye also, who's just another person who's you don't want to mess up with that person. And but all I can say is with Cowboy Bebop, never ever judge a book by its cover. I remember doing my Instagram review last time back in the day. That was my first sentence I remember. Never judge a book by its cover. If you were to really like that, actually that wasn't Louis talking film. It was Louis talking anime. Now that's a real throwback right there, where I actually put that as the first opening statement. Never judge a book by its cover. And I must just say, I'm glad I did not judge a book by its cover. If I judge it by its cover, I wouldn't be here talking about Cowboy Bebop in front of you guys. But with that being said, also like the second question I want to ask you is now we're only like about 15 minutes into the podcast itself, but we're gonna get a bit controversial here. Would you consider this anime to be the best of all times in terms of TV shows? Now, TV shows only, all right? Because obviously Cowboy Bebop was adapted from a TV show and made into a film. Film itself, that's another topic. We're just talking about the perspective of the TV show itself. Do you think that this will be considered as like an all-time favorite of yours? Because I know your all-time favorite TV show is Monster, right? If I'm not mistaken. That was from, I remember from back in the day. Please, Monish, enlighten us with it.
No, I mean it's been a minute since I thought about monsters, so it's just thrown me for a second. But yes, Cowboy Bebop is for sure in that conversation, man. Like there is no anime fan in the world who is legitimately and someone who's interested to explore older animes, classic animes as we'd call them, different animation styles. There's no one with that kind of interest who looks at Cowboy Bebop and says, yeah, I don't think that's a classic anime or an anime that deserves to be in the top 10 contention of best TV show animes. Because Cowboy Bebop is for sure one of those animes. It's a defining piece of pop culture in terms of anime. It's a type of anime that's inspired other animes. And Shinichiro Watanabe has proven with just Cowboy Bebop that he has some amazing music taste, number one, because you can tell the soundtrack is absolutely flawless. And then you go and see if you see Samurai Champloo and you see his mix with samurais and R&B music and hip hop music, that's another banger of a show. But Cowboy Bebop for sure deserves to be in that conversation. I can't say for sure that it's number one, but it is damn near close. You know, it's a top. Oh, I would say top three, maybe, possibly. I would go there. I would go there. I'd have to really do some serious thinking about there, but I'm a huge fan of Monster in my own way, so I do have that anime up there. But Cowboy Bebop is for sure in the conversation.
Same here, because I mean other good you have other great TV shows such as like One Piece, for example. What else is there? You have I mean, there's so many to name: Naruto, Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan. You have a lot. So trying to put that as number one, it's another story for another day. I bet you if we do a podcast about this, it'll probably last about an hour too long, but we ain't got time for that. But for me personally, would I consider this as an all-time great? I would say yes. I would say yes. Now, you're probably asking me, Lewis, what have you been smoking or have you been drinking? Well, to answer your question, I've quit smoking already for almost 3 years. All right, so I guess I'll give myself a round of applause for that and all of that, and also like the reason why I feel that like this TV show is considered as like an all-time favorite for me, because the reason being, this is one of the only animes where, like how Mohnish explained in like I think the reel itself or in this episode itself, like you don't even get a lot of genres combined into one TV show, right? Most of the time it's always one, at best two. But this is like one of the rare animes where I see like, you have like a Western genre, you have like cowboys in there, you have sci-fi, you have bit of drama here, a bit of action, like all these sort of genres, like you put it in a blender, and that's what you get with Cowboy Bebop. And also it's a huge risk with like blending all these genres together. And it worked well, really. I would say that it should be considered as an all-time favorite because of like the amount of risk that it takes. And also to add that like the score itself was a perfect 10 out of 10. Yoko Kano, who also did the score of our previous episode, Terror in Resonance, if you guys have not checked that out also, and also directed by Shinichiro Watanabe itself.
She did the score. She did the score for the anime that we discussed in our previous episode.
Oh, yes,
I
yes.
wish she could do the score for our episode. My God, that would be amazing.
Yes. I mean,
But yes, no,
yeah.
she like sorry, I just want to interrupt for
Sure,
a
sure, sure,
second.
sure.
Just to add on to Luis's point about Yoko Kano, I think that woman deserves every bit of respect she gets. I think she's one of the most phenomenal composers, musicians. I actually look at her work and I see like I don't want to say the Hans Zimmer of anime because it's not quite right. I would go and say she's the Ryuichi Sakamoto or something like I not just because he's Japanese, but just because his pieces feel so personal in just the way I hear them, right? It's like even me, I'm no music aficionado, but I hear it and it feels personal. It feels like a piece of Ryuichi Sakamoto is being shared, and it's personal out there. And Yoko Kano, two things. She understands the personality of music, and she probably could be a really damn good DJ for a party. So, not to downgrade her, but like, you know what I'm saying, lah.
Yeah, I
Her
agree.
score does a tremendous amount of work in Cowboy
Yeah,
Bebop.
well,
So, but yes, back to you, Louis.
yeah, but yeah, we don't want to go too much into score because that's going to be a later question actually. But
Oh, is
nevertheless,
it? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but I'm sure we still got a lot more to talk about with the score. But let's save the best for last. But I mean, these are like all the reasons that it can be considered as like a top contender for the best anime TV show, mind you, of all time. All right. Now, third question: this anime Cowboy Bebop has left a everlasting impact on the anime industry as we know it, I would say. And it's a classic, and it's probably one of the rare times where a TV show, which is adapted into a film, and it still manages to get like a good, reception, like a good box office from it also. Because when I did my research itself for the box office of Cowboy Bebop, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but based on what I see, it managed to gain at least 3 million USD in box office hits. And now it might not sound like a big number, but we have to take into context that this film was released back in the early 2000s, right? Back in the early 2000s, 3 million is probably like, I don't know what inflation would be like with that amount of money, but it was a lot of money. And
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I want to interject to Lewis here. I
go.
also think that the distribution for the Cowboy Bebop movie was probably not entirely worldwide.
I mean, it wasn't worldwide, but I know it was. This is probably based on like the information that I get was probably from majority of it will probably be from US and Japan itself. Probably this is like the two major countries that probably like contributed to it, and Manatau, Malaysia, maybe one ringgit or two
Actually,
ringgit.
it's probably perfectly possible that Malaysia could have contributed it, because a lot of anime films, like for example, Look Back was put out in Malaysia first, even though obviously it came out in Japan and everything. But Malaysia, Singapore, all these countries had a chance to watch Look Back in cinemas first before it even was announced in the US
Ah, there you
and the
go.
UK. So I think, yeah. But
Yeah,
go on, Luis. What was your point earlier?
yeah. So like it's like as I was saying just now, it's one of the rare times when you get a good audience, like good reception from like the TV show adapted into a film itself. Because not a lot of animes which were made into films can say that, right? Because I mean, if you were to look at like let's just take like the Rotten Tomatoes, or let's just take like some of the scores that it managed to get for the film itself. So hear me out on this. Okay, so I have a question for you, Mohnish. On Letterboxd, what do you think the average? Hopefully you've not looked at this. What was the average you think that it managed to get out of 5?
Ooh, like I'd say 3 point something, 3.2, 3.5.
4.1.
Whoa, okay,
And
nice.
and for disclaimer, this is Cowboy Bebop the movie. 4.1 out of 5 in Letterboxd.
Honestly, that's pretty strong for
Oh yes,
Letterboxd. It's almost full marks if you think
and
about it. So yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes 68%, so no more 67 for you lot, saying that 67, which I think is just a load of yeah. IMDb, which is 7.8 out of 10. So that's the
This
number
is
that
one
we're
of those
talking.
times. This is one of those times, and I apologize for my vulgarity, lah. But this is one of those times where Rotten Tomatoes can just take a hike, lah. Because, like, honestly, if IMDb and Letterboxd are telling you something, there's a reason why Letterboxd has become super respected in the recent times, especially the recent few years, because it's like audience driven. You know, it's not like critic driven. Nothing against critics, obviously, but let's be honest, there's not exactly there are some critics who tend to do reviews for the sake of reviews, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, those guys who don't watch cinema for like cinema, but they watch cinema to criticize in a way.
Yeah, and there's also this stupid trend between like newer critics where they just try to be like controversial just so that
Yeah.
people will read their reviews more. And when you look at what they're saying, they just go like, "Oh, Cowboy Bebop is the worst anime in the world." And then you read the review, the entire review is a bunch of hate like on Cowboy Bebop. But then if you were to write it in the opposite, it would just be a completely, you know, beautiful review. So to me, I think there's unfortunately some like some critics like that, but it's such a surprising thing that IMDb was like what 7 point something, is it?
It was IMDb was 7.8 out of 10, so let's just say close to 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
So
that's really high.
it's very high. So the question is, how did has this anime, whether it's you're talking about the TV show or the film, like had an impact on other animes like going forward? Have a think
Okay,
about
well, I mean,
this. Have a think about this.
I'll have a think about this. Like, Luis, maybe you can go ahead first. Let me just have a think about this, but you go ahead first and say what do you think?
What do I think? I will say yes, certainly. Why
Yeah,
Cowboy?
definitely lah.
I mean, it certainly had an impact on it. And if you guys are watching our podcast, you see Mohnish is just like losing hair by the day, probably losing millimeters by millimeters of hair each day. Think about this question. But yeah,
I will. I'll leave you in Luis's very capable hands for just a couple of minutes. I need to settle.
yeah. So obviously, like I would say yes, it's left a lasting impact, especially in like how I see, like for me personally, I'm just going to talk about it for me personally, in my opinion, right? I certainly say yes because of like how they take so many risks in an anime, like putting jazz music as part of the score itself. There's no like Tom Cruise sort of. There's no sort of like, sorry, not Tom Cruise, like Mission Impossible sort of music for the action scenes. It's all just pure jazz. If you think about it, if you just think about it for a second, putting jazz and action, will it match together? Sometimes people might think jazz and action together will sound like a Mexican film after that, or people will just probably think otherwise. But I would say it's left a lasting impact on how we see genre theory itself, right? I would say Cowboy Bebop, if you're talking about anime film alone or TV shows itself, this film, if you really want to do an academic piece, I would say that this is a perfect film for you to be able to study genre theory itself. I'm gonna put it out there. We've at least I've at least listed at least 4 to 5 genres in this show itself, and it's kind of like set the benchmark for like these types of animes that we that are being released as we speak now, to like kind of take risks and see what are the possibilities that we could do with genre, what we can do with music. It kind of like set the tone for everything. And also like when I was watching Cowboy Bebop, like again, I realized that some of the past animes that I've been watching for the past few years, like has taken inspiration from Cyberpunk, sorry, from Cowboy Bebop, and I was just gonna say like Cyberpunk Edge Runners itself has taken some inspiration from like the maybe from Cowboy Bebop, but not a lot. Maybe like the sci-fi element and stuff like that. And all I can say, yeah, it's probably had a everlasting impact, and it certainly has put jazz on the map through anime itself. It's just like one of the films that we did like a few episodes back is about that saxophone film itself. Which one was it? Blue Kid, Giant Killing. I remember was the name of it. So Giant Killing was the one.
Giant Killing is the football anime.
Hey, sorry, bukan Giant Killing. Let me get my
Blue Giant.
Blue Giant. Guys, apologize. It's almost you see on a render day on 2100 at about 4 a.m. in the morning. My brain sudah goreng already. Right? But yeah, not Giant Killing, Blue Giant. So you could say that this film, without Cowboy Bebop, we wouldn't have a film like Blue Giant itself. But yeah, that's enough of me. Monet, what do you think?
Before I get to my point, because I do have quite a spiel now, can you tell everyone why you chose that background? Because I remember you told me you specifically picked that background. So tell us a bit about that before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me change the view for a moment, guys. So as you can see here, we have Spike over here chilling on the bed here, Jet over here, and Faye over here. All right. So sorry that you guys are seeing what I wear, but this is what I'm at home. Allow it, bruv. Allow it. Okay? Now, I chose this moment because, like, you can see here, this is a moment, I think it was about minute 15 to 20 around there of the film. This is a bit after they found out that there's like a bounty which is being released. And you can see like this is a perfect example of how these three characters are like when they're with each other. You can see Brother Spike over here. I can't, unfortunately this TV is not touchscreen, so you just have to deal with it. He's wearing headphones over here. I think he has a cigarette in his mouth, right? And brother is just lying down and just thinking, yeah, we'll find a way around this. But you have other people over here, like Faye over here, where Faye, I must say, is like one. If I meet her in real, if I were to like encounter her in real life, for example, her character, I go home already. She is just she's just a character you do not want to mess with, right? It's like equivalent to like a Spy X Family, like your herself. Also, it's been a while since I mentioned the anime. If these two characters were to go in a fight, who is gonna be a close one? But that's her character itself. She's the one where she's willing to get her hands dirty, and she doesn't care what the cost is. Then you have Brother Jet over here. He's more like, he has the big guns. He's like basically just like there to like help. Like he's like, not to say almost like the brains itself, but he's the one who kind of like keeps it together and keeps like Spike over here in check, right? Jet over here, he's the type of guy who he just wants to get the job done no matter what. And he doesn't care what route you take, route A, route B, or whatever. Not root beer, but whatever the plan is, he just wants to get it done because he's trying to think about how to make it to the next day. And it's just something in my mind I remember. You have Jet over here saying that like you remember this bit, Mohnish, in the film itself, where they were cooking food in the first 10 minutes of the film, I remember, and then we had Jet over here saying to Spike, I was like, oh, we have food over here. We're cooking some beef and noodles and vegetables. But then in reality, it's only vegetables and noodles. So you can see this guy over here, Jet over here, he's trying to be very optimistic. He's trying to like just work with what we have. And then Spike over here, he just wants everything. He wants like the entire slice of the pie. And his expectations goes from here to here. And then Faye over here, she's just there, just like questioning these two guys. But this is the reason why I like chose this background for today, and this is the first time ever that you're seeing my shots, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's we don't judge a good bit of fashion, very very comfortable fashion. But like now, just to get back on track to your question, Lewis, like I believe your question was, how did this anime impact other animes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to begin at the beginning.
In the beginning.
Cowboy Bebop, like Lewis said, is a mashup of genres, right? But at the same time, it is also dominated by a certain few genres. You've got the neo-noir genre, you've got the action a little bit, and of course you have the way of like how it really uses that sort of, I keep going back to James Bond. It's not genre, I know, but it is a archetype, and that for me is like Cowboy Bebop is inherently, like the way Lewis was talking about the three characters in that background, Cowboy Bebop is inherently a character driven anime because it's an anime that brings like a very strong sense of like unique characters. Like Lewis was able to tell you all the unique things about Spike, Faye, and Jet just by pointing at pictures. And that I think is the genius, because why? We are able to see now that, oh, this character has this, but that character may look like that, but you do not want to screw with that character. And this character may look big and scary, but he also makes vegetables and noodles. And you look at this and you see the uniqueness in each character. And I think that's the real strength behind what Cowboy Bebop was able to accomplish. It created unique characters that people were able to differentiate, understand, and follow and support. So that really made it unique. But how it affected other genres and other animes really is Cowboy Bebop proved that the power of a soundtrack, character-driven narrative is only matched by the consistency of great stories. Now, of course, you have the amazing animations these days with all the digital advances and whatnot, and some of it looks really beautiful. Like, but my comment really is that I think animes nowadays have stopped being unique. I know, but animes today have stopped being unique because every animation style looks like a copy of one another. Like if you look at the most commercial animes, Demon Slayer, um, the Boruto, or even Boku no Hero. But Boku no Hero has been around for a little bit, so I'll just give it that pass. But if you look at these animes, right, where they have such similar styles. Now, of course, everyone's got a superpower, lah. Everyone's got all this and that, but what makes it unique to me is the story, right? But in anime, you must have a unique animation, in my opinion. You should have something that differentiates, you know? And Cowboy Bebop's animation is unique, is the composition, the way it's done. And the thing I learned a lot from anime is efficiency in telling a story, because it costs a lot of money to animate, right? So they can only choose the exact shots they need. They cannot do more than that. So as a filmmaker, I'm really learning a lot. But other animes, I would feel like Cowboy Bebop has inspired many other animes. Cyberpunk Edge Runners is one that Lewis mentioned. I feel there is definitely some Cowboy Bebop inspiration there, because the soundtrack as well for Cyberpunk Edge Runners is amazing, and they've got some really great cinematography, and you've got such a wonderful wide ranging amount of genre tropes in Cyberpunk Edge Runners. But I also think that the most important thing for an anime, if, that Cowboy Bebop has demonstrated, is the strength of its story, strength of its narrative, and giving it like that solid base to build out from. Like, I don't think we needed a Cowboy Bebop movie. Not really, because the series just ended so perfectly for me. But the fact that Shinichiro Watanabe can come out with a series, do it to perfection, and then come out with a movie that nobody asked for, really. And you can see the animation in the movie. The movie's animation looks really nice. It's crisp, it's sound, it's beautiful. But he's come out with a movie that isn't shit. You know what I mean? And I say this with all due respect, because most animes that are serialized that decide to go down the movie route seems to come off as a cash grab. Case in point, Detective Conan, right?
Yep, I remember.
It's such a legendary series, but do we always need a Detective Conan movie? Probably, yeah, but at the same time, I wish it was more of a detective story instead of a kid James Bond. Separate topic. The point I'm trying to make here, sorry, I'm getting a little passionate, but
That's
it's
right,
part of the
right.
thing. Uh, point I'm trying to make here is that Cowboy Bebop was able to go down the movie route. It was somewhat of a financial success from what Lewis mentioned, but I'm looking at it from the point that the fans did not hate it. You know what I mean? They were happy, and I see this on Letterboxd as well. I have a couple of friends now who have reviewed it on Letterboxd, and they actually said similar things, which I have said in my own Letterboxd review on Cowboy Bebop the movie, which is, we were happy to spend more time with Spike Spiegel, with Jet, with Faye, and all the other characters. We wanted that opportunity to spend more time with them. So for me, when I look at that, I'm like, oh shoot, that's the power of those unique characters right there. Because yes, we did need the movie, but now that we have the movie, I'm just kind of happy to see Spike doing his thing, Faye doing her thing, Jake, Jet doing his thing, and there's so many different aspects to that, right? So I feel like genre blending, atmospheres, and understanding unique characters, strong storytelling, and a unique animation is really what Cowboy Bebop has given any other successful anime out there.
Yeah, 100%.
Sorry, it was a bit long, but I just wanted to get that
No,
across.
I think we could consider this episode a special already. You know how long we've been recording for?
Oof.
2 hours. Nah, kidding. 41 minutes. 41 minutes to be exact.
I nearly passed out, but okay.
But let's just consider this a special for you guys, because I mean,
Boleh.
Cowboy Bebop is just like something that we just truly love, and here at the Real Anime Podcast, we Mandem just want to share with you guys. You don't know. But remember, Demon Slayer friends, it's okay. Please don't be toxic. But moving on to the last question.
But yes, Lewis, the last question, which I will ask you this time, because you are more of the expert on this than me. So I want us to really get this from you, which is, how does jazz influence Cowboy Bebop? Like, you know.
Let me go get my guitar and let me play something. Just kidding.
Hey.
Spotify and YouTube, we apologize for any wrongdoings that we have done. We want to make sure that we're just two blokes talking about cinema. Yeah, sometimes we can get a bit off topic, but you know, we try to steer the ship. Make sure not in an iceberg or whatnot lah. Okay. Yes. That word itself, hands down, is the reason why this TV show is fantastic, right? I mean, I'm just gonna say it out loud. Like, if I told you that jazz would work in any action scene or whatnot, would you like believe me, Mohnish? If I said that, like, just think about it for a second.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Action scene, no, it would have been difficult for me to picture.
Imagine, right? You have like a film like Mission Impossible. Let's take for example. Imagine you put some jazz inside there. Would it look good? Well, maybe. I mean, who knows?
It wouldn't have been cut. It won't be cut well to the music. You know, that's my issue.
Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe for my future film, I don't mind just adding jazz into my action film. So why not? But I like the fact that they decided to go the jazz route instead of like your normal typical Mission Impossible sort of music, for like, you know, to like match with like the action scenes, to match with the drama. The jazz itself did a perfect job of being able to capture the moments, and also like music itself is one of the important things of any TV show or any film, because why sometimes if a score is good, it can help elevate a storyline itself, right? And jazz itself, and then like the jazz in the film itself, and or even the TV show itself, it maintains like a nice steady tempo. Doesn't overdo it, doesn't go too fast, too slow. Let's just say each moment it has like a perfect moment of how it's written, like a perfect BPM, the perfect amount of instruments, nothing too flashy. It like I said, it just aligns with each other. And if you're wondering what is this, I actually have my finger clipper here, but I don't know why it's here. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the music itself just really gelled well with the story. And if I were to give you a reason to watch it, and if I were to give you that reason alone, I would say 9 times out of 10 people would just go watch it because they probably want to try, like, maybe try to prove me wrong when I say that jazz does work with action sequence. They probably think like I'm smoking something. But trust me, if you guys are watching this or listening to this, you go watch it and then you come at me. I'm just gonna say that. If you don't think the jazz music fits, you can come talk to me. I'll give you my number is 01234567889. That's my number. I'll repeat again. 01234567889. And then Mohnish is doing that 7-6 joke. I don't get it, but never mind.
6-7.
Whatever lah. Yeah, like this 6-7. But yeah, I mean, like, guys, come at me. I want to be challenged. I'm just saying, if you don't think jazz music fits with action, tell me now. I want to hear the argument.
Oh, tak ada tu anak.
But yeah, I mean, Mohnish, do you have anything to say about the jazz music before we like maybe close things off?
I mean, I think I've said my piece on the jazz music, but I will say it is a soundtrack that I keep going back to, and considering anime soundtracks are a dime a dozen, Cowboy Bebop has its place, you know?
I 100% with that, but yeah, I mean, to close everything off, guys, we've been talking for almost 50 minutes, and the last time we did almost an hour episode is actually a special. But in reality, I think Cowboy Bebop itself is just a special series and movie itself that it almost deserves a special on its own, right? It's a fantastic anime if you guys have not watched it. Never judge a book by its cover. Watch it. Let us know what you guys think whenever this podcast is released. And all I can say is you guys will have a good time watching this, I must say. And yeah, with that being said, guys, I mean, thank you for watching this anime. And soon, as we are recording this, it's gonna be my dog's birthday, Elvie, soon, where she is turning 18 years old. So if you guys are watching this, and we will know who has watched the full entire thing, I want you guys to comment down there. Happy birthday, Elvie. Now, how do you spell Elvie? That's a good question. L V, like Louis Vuitton. I don't know why I'm exposing my dog's name out there, but she's my hungry hippo, and everyone knows her. But yeah, Monish, do you have anything to say to Elvie?
LB, I'll take you out for your birthday, and don't worry, I'll text you the plans. But aside from that, like Lewis said, thank you so much for listening to our episode. And Cowboy Bebop is a special anime, so evidently our episode is a little bit special this time. Thank you all very much, and we will see you in the next one. But I will leave Lewis to do his outro first.
Okay, with that being said, guys, thank you for taking the busy time out of your busy schedule, whether you're on the way to work, about to go to sleep, or you haven't slept yet. And if you haven't slept yet, I will go find the person who's in charge of the house and tell them you are not sleeping. But it's okay if you guys are watching to us. Allow it. But with that being said, guys, thank you for watching and listening to our episode. What are we going to do in the next episode? Let me think. Yeah, that's we'll let you guys know soon, all right? Thank you, guys. Good day, good night, and sayonara. I don't know why I said that, but never mind.